All right, welcome back to another episode of Chip Theory. Today I'm talking about a modal scale, the Mixolydian mode, starting on our keynote here, which is going to be an A flat. Assuming this note is A flat, we have a chromatic scale here laid out from A flat to G. And here you see the 12 unique notes, A flat, A, B flat, B, C, D flat, D, E flat, E, F, G flat, and G. This is how it would look as far as black and white notes on the piano keyboard if you were to mask off a section from A flat to G on your keyboard. Again, these are the 12 unique notes. If we were to add a duplicate note on the top, this would be your octave. This gives us 13 chips. This is a duplicate A flat. And what that means is that we have 12 half steps between 13 chips. So although there may be 13 chips here, we have only 12 spans between them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 half steps between a note and its duplicate on the octave. So given that, we can find out what note our A flat Mixolydian mode is the fifth of by simply counting down from its octave 7 half steps, or a perfect fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And here we have the note D flat. So we know that our A flat Mixolydian mode is going to share the same key signature as a D flat major scale, and that the note D flat is also 5 half steps in this direction. So if it's 7 down, since there's only 12 in an octave, it's going to be 5 in this direction here. So we have a fifth down or a fourth up to the same relative major. Again, D flat is going to have 5 flats in its key signature: B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, and G flat. Okay, so we could simply play our D flat major scale here, starting on the A flat to reach A flat Mixolydian, or we could learn the pattern for Mixolydian modal scales as a whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, series of whole steps and half steps. Again, that was whole, half, whole, half, whole. And that pattern is the Mixolydian mode ascending. Now, if we happen to play those same notes that we'll derive from that scale in descending manner, we will have an Aeolian pattern, because that pattern is simply the natural minor scale reversed. So if we know our natural minor scale is whole, half, half, whole, we simply know the Mixolydian by saying it backwards or in descending as whole, half, half, whole. Because the Mixolydian mode and the Aeolian mode are inverse of each other. So keeping that in mind, we can start here on our A flat and form the scale from our pattern of whole. Here's a half step to our relative major note. We have a whole step, and then another half step. And then, of course, the last whole step is going to be to the duplicate octave note. So from here, B flat, G flat back to A flat. Okay? So again, noting the pattern, if we say the pattern downwards, we're going to have a natural minor pattern. However, these are our Mixolydian modal notes. But if we were to play the scale going to the left or descending, we have the pattern of the Aeolian mode. Whole, half, half, whole. Again, ascending, it's a Mixolydian pattern. Whole, half, half, whole. So that's an easy way to remember the patterns of Mixolydian and natural minor. If we remove the notes that are not in our Mixolydian modal scale, we're left with the notes of A flat Mixolydian: A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F. Now here we have a G flat. Now the Mixolydian mode is known as the flat 7 mode, or the dominant mode. It's called that because if we were to compare the major scale built from the note we're building the mode on, the A flat scale, we have 4 flats in A flat major. And the 7th degree of an A flat major scale is going to be the natural, a G natural. So here we would have A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, and G. And what we've done to reach Mixolydian mode is taken this G and we've flatted it to G flat, like this. So now we have essentially the flat 7 of A flat Mixolydian. And here the relative major of A flat falls on the 4th degree of it, or the 4th position of A flat Mixolydian. We have the D flat, which has, of course, the G flat in its key signature. So we have the 5 flats of D flat from the note on the 4th position of Mixolydian. Again, in Mixolydian, your relative major will always fall on this 4th position note. So we could take these notes here and move them to the D flat major position like this. We've essentially taken our A flat Mixolydian and shifted it over here. So now we have a D flat major scale: D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat, and C natural. And if we were to give these Ionian mode scale degrees numbers, we have D flat would be 1, E flat is 2, F is 3, G flat is 4, A flat is 5. Now this 5th note, A flat, is going to be our Mixolydian mode. Remember, Mixolydian is the 5th mode of the major scale, so this is our keynote for the Mixolydian mode. A flat, B flat will be 6, and C is 7. And it's easiest to remember these scale degrees in this position, 5, 6, and 7, so that when we move back to our Mixolydian mode, we have the 5th degree of D flat right here. The 5th note of D flat is A flat, the 6th note is B flat, and the 7th note is C. So again, this is scale degrees 5, 6, and 7 from our relative major, D flat. Here we have the root, D flat. Here's 2, E flat. Here's 3, F, and 4, G flat. So now our scale degrees are simply shifted around, starting on 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, and 4 of a relative major D flat. Okay, so we have that very clear, and realizing this, we can form our triads based on these scale degrees of alternating scale tones here from our Mixolydian position, right? So now we have these 3 notes. And again, these scale degrees, based on the relative major, are 5, 7, and 2. And 5, 7, 2 scale degrees are a major triad. From D flat, we have A flat, C, and E flat, right? Which is major. Our second position triad here is going to be the 6, root 3 scale degrees, B flat, D flat, and F, which is minor. This position here is going to be the 7, 2, and 4 scale degrees. Now, if you may have heard of these scale degrees before, 7, 2, 4 is going to be a diminished in all keys, right? All major keys, your scale degrees 7, 2, and 4 form a diminished triad. So those numbers equal diminished, 7, 2, and 4. In this case, we're looking at the 7 of D flat, so C, E flat, and G flat is diminished, 7, 2, 4, here on this position in Mixolydian. All right, the 4th position here is going to be our relative major, root 3, 5, D flat, F, and A flat, which is major. Right, this position here is the 2, 4, and 6 position, scale degrees, excuse me. 2, 4, 6 scale degrees are going to form a minor triad in all keys 2, 4, and 6, E flat, G flat, and B flat. So the chord on this position, or the 5th node of Mixolydian, is a minor triad, in particular the 2, 4, 6 scale degrees. The next one here is the 3, 5, and 7, or F, A flat, and C, which is also minor. And lastly, we have the flat 7th position of Mixolydian, which is the 4th scale degree of the relative major, the 6th, and the root. So what we have here is essentially a flat 7, G flat major 7, G flat, or G flat major, G flat, B flat, and D flat. It's a G flat major triad on the 7th position here, or the last note of Mixolydian, a flat 7 major chord. In this case, G flat major. Okay, so realizing this, we have our chord qualities were, of course, major, minor, diminished, major, minor, minor, and a flat 7 major. Of course, these are the 5th chord of major, 6th, the 7th, the root, or the 1, 2, 3, and 4 in this position. So the idea here is to raise our positional awareness of where these triads fall in relation to the mode that we're playing. Right? This is Mixolydian mode. We're going to have the 5 here, so we're starting on the 5th note, which means that all of our chords are going to come back to this tonal center here on the A flat. Another thing to note is we can form our 7th chords using the same principle as alternating scale tones and adding this 4th note here, which means that we're going to be left with a scale degrees 5, 7, 2, and 4 of our relative major. 5, 7, 2, 4 is A flat, C, E flat, and G flat for our first position of Mixolydian. Now the 5, 7, 2, 4 scale degrees in all major keys are going to form a dominant 7 chord. So that's another reason we call the Mixolydian mode the dominant mode, is because that one position chord, the first node of Mixolydian, is always a dominant 7th chord. Again, a dominant 7th chord has a 4-3-3 spacing, or a minor third here between scale degrees 2 and 4, or E flat and G flat in this key. So this minor third over the major triad from the 5-7-2 major chord, right? D flat, A flat, C, and E flat. Then we have the G flat, so a dominant 7, 4-3-3 spacing. Again, you have between the notes 7 and 2 a minor third, which has a 1+2 interval, meaning that between these two notes in your scale, you have from C to D flat is 1 half step, and from D flat to E flat is 2 half steps. So this interval has a 1+2, and it's here on the dominant 7 chord. And then this interval here, from 2 to 4, is a 2+1. So although they're the same spacing, 3 half steps each, they're different, slightly different situation based on the half steps, right? So here we have E flat to F is 2 half steps, and F to G flat is 1 half step. So we're calling this interval a 2+1. So again, a 1+2 here and a 2+1 here for all of your dominant 7 chords based on the 5, 7, 2, 4 scale degrees. And that format will hold true for all of your dominant 7 chords and all major keys and modes, and also the minor ones too. For the dominant 7 chord in particular. So that's an easy way to study up and remember the format for your dominant 7 position on the 1 position here in Mixolydian. Our second chord here is the 6 root 3 5. Again, it's B flat, D flat, your root, your 2, your 3, 6 root 3, F, and 5, A flat. Again, A flat is our Mixolydian note. That's the same note here, A flat here, and there's an A flat here. That's our key, A flat Mixolydian, the 5th scale degree from a relative major. This is a minor 7 chord, the 6 root 3 5 minor 7. This would be the chord that would fall on the 6th degree of a Ionian mode, right? Your 6 root 3 5 scale degrees from major. Here on our second mode, and shift it over to Mixolydian position. And that chord always has a 2+1 interval here and a 1+2 interval here. And it's a 3-4-3 spacing of half steps for a minor 7 chord, which is different from the dominant 7. The dominant 7 is a 4-3-3 always, and every minor 7 chord is going to have a 3-4-3 spacing. Right, our third position, or this node, next node here, is a 7-2-4-6 scale degrees. We already know that the 7-2-4 is diminished, and we're adding, of course, the 6th scale degree, which is going to be a major third higher. So we have here C, E flat, G flat, and six, B flat. Okay, so here are the scale degrees from 4 to 6 of D flat, relative major. We have a G flat to B flat, which is going to be a major third atop this diminished triad. So it's 7-2-4-6 scale degrees. It's going to be a 3-3-4 spacing, half diminished chord, with a 1+2 interval here, and a 2+1 interval here. So this chord is a half diminished 7. Our next chord is, of course, a relative major, root 3-5-7, D flat, F, A flat, and C. Of course, D flat, F, A flat, C is a 4-3-4 spacing. It has a 1+2 interval here between scale degrees 3 and 5. Again, this is our 4th node of Mixolydian. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4 is our relative major. It's a major 7 chord based on the root of the relative major. Okay, the next chord is the 5 chord here, 2, 4, 6 root, E flat, G flat, B flat, and D flat. 2, 4, 6 root of a relative major. It's a minor 7 chord. E flat, G flat, B flat, and D flat. It's a 3-4-3 spacing again, just like this chord here, except for this chord has 2+1s for both of its minor third intervals. So 2+1 here and a 2+1 here between scale degrees 2 and 4 and scale degrees 6 and a root. All right, here in our 6th position, our 6th node of Mixolydian, we have the 3-5-7-2 chord, or F, A flat, C, in E flat. F, A flat, C, E flat is a minor 7 chord. Again, this shares the same scale chord quality as this chord and this chord, except for this one has on its minor thirds 1 plus 2 intervals between scale degrees 3 and 5 and scale degrees 7 and 2. Those are both 1 plus 2 intervals. Here, the flat 7 scale position is the 4/6 root 3 scale degrees of D flat. We have G flat, G flat, 6 is B flat, the root is D flat, and the 3 is F. So flat 7, major 7, G flat, B flat, D flat, F, more scale degrees 4, 6, root 3 of D flat. So those are going to be the chords of your A flat Mixolydian mode. You're going to have here a dominant 7, a minor 7, half diminished 7, a major 7, a minor 7, a minor 7, and a flat 7, major 7. Okay? Now, given that these scale degrees are static and will not change, they're set. Now we're set with the chords. Let's talk about the inversions of these chords. And we're basing our inversions on the spacing of the chord quality as opposed to trying to name the scale degrees so I don't confuse anyone, including myself. So here we're back on the first chord of A flat Mixolydian. Again, this was a dominant 7, 4/3/3 spacing. When we invert this, we raise the A flat to the top, leaving our third in the bottom. And this is going to give us a 3/3/2 position of half steps, 3, 3, and 2 now, starting on C, E flat, G flat, and A flat. All right, and we have a 3/2/4 position, starting on E flat, G flat, A flat, C, to our third inversion, a 2/4/3 position, starting on G flat, A flat, C, and E flat. Coming down is E flat, C, A flat, G flat, C, A flat, G flat, E flat, A flat, G flat, E flat, C, and G flat, E flat, C, A flat for A flat dominant 7 here on the first note of Mixolydian. Our second position chord was a minor 7, B flat, D flat, F, A flat. It's a 3/4/3 spacing. When we invert this, we take the B flat to the top. We have now a 4/3/2 spacing, starting on D flat, F, A flat, B flat, to a 3/2/3 position, starting on F. We have F, A flat, B flat, D flat, and then to a 2/3/4 position, 2, 3, and 4, starting on A flat, B flat, D flat, and F. Coming down is F, D flat, B flat, A flat, D flat, B flat, A flat, F, B flat, A flat, F, D flat, and A flat, F, D flat, B flat. Our third note here was the third position was the C half diminished 7, C, E flat, G flat, B flat. Again, this is a 3/3/4 spacing starting on C. When we invert this, we have a 3-4-2 position starting on E flat, G flat, B flat, C, to a 4-2-3 starting on G flat, B flat, C, E flat, and finally to our 2-3-3 inversion for half diminished chords starting on B flat, C, E flat, G flat. Coming down as G flat, E flat, C, B flat, E flat, C, B flat, G flat, C, B flat, G flat, E flat, and B flat, G flat, E flat, C. Our fourth position chord here was the relative major D flat, F, A flat, C. It's a 4-3-4 spacing. When we invert it, we have a 3-4-1 position starting on F, A flat, C, D flat, to a 4-1-4 position starting on A flat, C, D flat, F, and to a 1-4-3 position starting on C, D flat, F, A flat. Coming down is A flat, F, D flat, C, F, D flat, C, A flat, D flat, C, A flat, F, and C, A flat, F, D flat. The next chord here is on the fifth position, E flat minor, E flat, G flat, B flat, and D flat. It's a 3-4-3 spacing. When we invert it, we take our E flat up here. We have a 4-3-2 starting on G flat, B flat, D flat, and E flat, to a 3-2-3 position starting on B flat, D flat, E flat, and G flat, to a 2-3-4 position starting on D flat, E flat, G flat, and B flat. Coming down as B flat, G flat, E flat, D flat, G flat, E flat, D flat, B flat, E flat, D flat, B flat, G flat, and D flat, B flat, G flat, and E flat. Our next position here was F minor 7, F, A flat, C, E flat. It's also a 3-4-3 spacing. When we invert it, we have a 4-3-2 starting on A flat, C, E flat, F, to a 3-2-3 starting on C, E flat, F, A flat, to a 2-3-4 position starting on E flat, F, A flat, and C. Coming down is C, A flat, F, E flat, A flat, F, E flat, C, F, E flat, C, A flat, and E flat, C, A flat, F. And finally our flat 7, major 7 chord, G flat, B flat, D flat, and F is a 4-3-4 spacing. When we invert it, we have a 3-4-1 starting on B flat, D flat, F, G flat, to a 4-1-4 starting on D flat, F, G flat, B flat, and a 1-4-3 position starting on F, G flat, B flat, D flat. Coming down is D flat, B flat, G flat, F, B flat, G flat, F, D flat, G flat, F, D flat, B flat, and F, D flat, B flat, and G flat. So again, these are the chords of A flat Mixolydian. We had an A flat dominant 7, B flat minor 7, C half diminished, D flat major 7, E flat minor 7, F minor 7, and a flat 7, G flat major 7. And those are your chords in scale degrees of A flat Mixolydian mode.